dear fellow Toastmasters and lovely guests. I welcome you all to meeting number 1282. I request you all not to talk about sex, politics, and religion. Please stay on mute unless you need to speak. And please encourage the members when required by applauding. And also, please keep your cameras on. I'm pretty sure you all look so dashing today. Many times in your life, you may have faced prejudice, and others may have looked down on you for a lot of reasons, and you might have felt so bad. And yet, you choose to stay positive. And people like these have become books in the human library and become inspiration. And here in Toastmasters, many have faced it too and have become amazing mentors who guide us from their experience. And this particular amazing person must have listened with years of tolerance and seen through the eyes of compassion and speaks with the language of kindness to become the leader he is now. And he is none other than our dear President, Srijit Kilakilot. Over to you, President.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kirtana. You did a fantastic job calling me full name, Srijit Kilakilot. Yeah, it is very difficult indeed. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and all the guests joined for this meeting. A warm welcome to all of you for the meeting number 1282.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, I declare the meeting number 1282 open. Now, I would request our secretary to read out the previous meeting's minutes. Toastmaster Preeti.
Good evening, Mr. President, Toastmasters, and my dear guests.
Good evening.
16th July. 16th July, meeting number 1281 was a session completely devoted to solving various mysteries. Oh, yes. And it was in line with the theme, Mysteries We Have Solved. Sergeant at Arms started at sharp 6:30 p.m. with President taking it from there, talking on the mysteries of English language. The Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Puneet, started off with the story of a drunkard who drank until his wife looked good. And he clarified as well, he is a complete teetotaler. Well, we get it, Toastmaster Puneet, we get it. Our younger speaker, DTM Teresa ma'am, started off with the landmarks she attained while someone was being assassinated. Phew. Next time she talks of a landmark event, God forbid, do check who was with her or who was assassinated. Toastmaster Chetan started his Toastmaster journey with his speech titled Roads Where Flowers Grow. Toastmaster Fatah Khan and Toastmaster Smita Roshi kept the listeners spellbound with their mysterious stories. The evaluators did a wonderful evaluation that kept everyone engrossed on the tips and tricks of evaluation. Table Topics Master, Toastmaster Vinay, took us through the mystery of Animal Kingdom and various phrases. General Evaluator, DTM Dr. Rasdeep Sir was with his tag team, kept the audience mesmerized with his witty lines, yet crisp evaluation. We look forward for the same. Our stars of the day were Best Tag Team Player, Toastmaster Chetan, Best Role Taker, DTM Dr. Rajdeep Manwani, Best Table Topic Speaker, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan, Evaluator, Toastmaster Nitin B, and Best Speaker was Toastmaster Fatah Khan. Now, the last yet the best part, the TPL scores. Last meeting score, or should I say the meeting number 1 TPL score is Royal Challengers 38, Sunrisers moving ahead with 62, Super Kings 57, and Knight Riders 43. Over to you, President.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Preeti. Dear members, are the minutes in order?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thanks for confirming. I declare the minutes stand pass. Do you know or have you heard about Vaikam Muhammad Bashir? If you are from Kerala, I'm sure you would have heard about this person. He was a phenomenal writer from Kerala. He had written many novels, short stories, and even movie scripts. Considering his contribution towards literature, he was awarded Padma Shri by Government of India. Simplicity in writing was his uniqueness. He writes colloquial language and anybody can read and enjoy his stories. And many his stories have included in high school curriculum as well. He was a great human being. He was a freedom fighter. He was jailed for 2 years, more than 2 years, and he traveled across India and other countries as well. Later, when he came back, he started a book shop and he had a huge friend circle, and many of them are interested in arts and literature. So every evening, they meet at a bookshop and discuss on various topics like movies, music, politics, even books, and much more. So during that time, one new person have joined this team. So during this casual discussion, Bashir asked him, "What do you do?" He mentioned, "Even I want to be a great writer like you people." "That's amazing," said Bashir, and he asked some more questions. "Have you ever felt or understood the pain of starving for food?" That person told, "Not much." "Then have you traveled different places, understood different people, understood different culture?" That person said again, "Not much." "Have you read a lot?" Again, he said, "Not much." Then Bashir asked an important question. "Then what are you going to write about? You must go through some painful situation. You should have many experiences and understand different culture, people, and more than that, you should be a voracious reader to become a good writer." Very profound statement, right? Once, someone asked an elderly person, "What is life's heaviest burden?" He said, "To have nothing to carry." He didn't take any risk, so he couldn't gain valuable experiences so that he could cherish those moments at his old age. He felt his life was, when he looked back, he felt his life was like a plain blank notebook. Dear fellow Toastmasters, imagine this world is a big library and you and me are a book in that library. It is all in our hands. How to make that book look. It can be a plain blank notebook, or it can be you can make it as a good, great book. We are fortunate. You and me are fortunate. You and me are in right place to create that beautiful story book in that library. In Toastmasters, we learn, we do experiment, and we gain that experience to make our life or our story worth listening. With that note, I would like to, it's my privilege and honor to introduce the next person who would take us through this meeting. She is a Toastmaster since the year 2000. And she was the first lady president of our club, Bangalore Toastmasters Club. And she has mentored many members and those who have grown leaps and bounds. What truly makes her distinguished is her creativity. Dear Toastmasters and guests, please help me in welcoming DTM Sumitra Manmohan as our Toastmaster of today's meeting. Thank you. Madam Sumitra ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Sridhar, for that heartwarming introduction. Good evening and welcome everyone to this human library called Bangalore Toastmasters Club. There was a school kid, William Kwamba, from Malawi in Southeast Africa. Because of his poverty, he had to drop out of school, but his thirst for knowledge and learning was so deep, he continued going to that school library. And there he came across a book titled Using Energy. And the portion on windmills fired his imagination to invent a wind-driven turbine for his village to generate electricity. He went on to many more inventions and finally to the US University. So my Toastmasters and guests, as a normal library gives access to knowledge and learning, it also ignites the creativity and imagination. Similarly, a human library has living books who are there in its original concept were meant to dispel prejudices, biases, mindsets, and change perspectives on marginalized groups and ideas which were not discussed openly. And as I was going through all this information, I realized Toastmasters is such a wonderful human library. And it goes even further. Apart from giving us knowledge, learning, and skills, it transforms our people, the members. And just as we start the journey, we feel we have no stories, no ideas to share. But with the transformation, we not only break out of our shells of inhibitions to become gleaming pearls and even trailblazers that make an impact on society. And for this, we need to be ever grateful to that great visionary called Ralph C. Smedley, where way back in 1924, he sowed the seed of human library. 76 years before, that concept was sown in Copenhagen. Now, just as libraries have their networks all over, Toastmasters too has its network of 16,200 clubs spread across 145 countries and boasts of over 3.5 lakhs members. Now, what is it that binds all these clubs despite the diversity and variety of cultures and heritages? It's the format of the meeting. Our meetings in Toastmasters has 3 sections, just as any library would have 3 sections. The first section is that of the prepared speeches, where members give us speeches, present speeches, and it increases our knowledge and learnings, and we sharpen our communication skills. The second portion is that of the fun and entertainment called the table topics session. Here, the table topic person throws topics randomly at the members, and they have to give impromptu speeches. It helps them, all members, sharpen their thinking on the feet, as well as become confident, and you have elan to speak anytime, anywhere, to anyone. Now, the third part of our Toastmaster meetings is the evaluations session, very similar to the reviews that we get in libraries. But the critics here are not captious. They give feedback that they give is constructive, is credible, and crisp. And to lead this session, we have a master critic who is called the general evaluator, who's already reviewing the meeting. And today we have a real charmer called Toastmaster Melvin Smith. More on him during the evaluation session. Now, to help him, he has individual speech evaluators as well as a team of 4 members called the TAGL team. T stands for the timer. And just as you keep a log of books borrowed and returned, he keeps tab of the time used. And for this, we have a person who is a bird watcher and a photographer too. So rest assured, he'll keep tab of your time diligently and honestly. To explain how he will do it, let us call upon Toastmaster Achyuta. Over to you.
Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. My role for today is to record the time of all the speakers and make sure that they complete the speeches in the given time. To do this, I will be changing my background to different colors. So all the speakers, I request you to pin me to your screen before you start your speech. So it would look something like this. That would be green, yellow, and red. Now, for the prepared speeches, I will be changing the background to green at 5 minutes, at yellow at 6 minutes, and red at 7 minutes. For the icebreaker, I'll be changing my background to green at 4 minutes, yellow at 5 minutes, and red at 6 minutes. For the table topics, I'll be changing my background to green at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5 minutes, and red at 2 minutes. Please make sure that you wind up after that. So that's it from me, and make sure that you pin me to your screen. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Achyuta. Remember the silence board in libraries? Well, here also, we are not supposed to make unwanted sounds. And to keep a tab on that and explain to you what sounds are taboo, we have a sports lover who thinks first and acts then. So you can be sure he'll keep an accurate record. Let me call upon Toastmaster Nagendra Hegde to explain his role.
Thank you, DTM Sumitra ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. It's very common that one uses filler words or crutch words when we speak. But it is always good that we have a check on it and reduce it next time we speak. As an accountant today, I will help all the speakers with that, and I will be carefully listening to all the speeches, and I will note down repeated words like and, well, and also filler words like in every speech. At the end of the meeting, I will provide a report with all the speakers how many times they have used these filler words in their speeches. Thank you. Over to you, Tumitra.
Thank you, Nagendra. Now, just as we have dictionaries in the libraries, we have the grammarian. And to tell us how to go to explain his role, we have a processes and operations leader at Oracle, and he is a fitness freak too. So he will ensure that what you speak is fit and appropriate. So it's over to Nestor Rodriguez to explain his role and give the word of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumitra. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll also take note of any improper language usage, as well as any outstanding and sterling words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word of the day is captious, which means to often express criticism about matters that are unimportant or raise petty objections or tend to find fault over trivial issues. An example of using this word in a sentence is to say, as this evening's grammarian, I will strive not to be captious in my report. Every speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also share a report on usage of word of the day. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and back to you.
Thank you. And we also have a person in the role of listener to ensure that you listen attentively. And to explain his role, we have someone who's a stargazer and someone with green fingers, and he's the ideal person, calm, compassionate, and cool. So let's invite Toastmaster Pratik to explain his role.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Being a good listener is as important as being a good speaker. As a listener role today, I'll be making a note of good information that are shared by our speakers, and I'll pose those questions back to you at the end of the meeting to ensure we are all actively listening. Back to you, Toastmaster today.
Yeah, thank you, Pratik. Now introductions done, let's move on to the prepared speech section. Our first speaker is presenting his icebreaker and the dynamic leadership path. And to evaluate him, we have someone who's a story of grit and perseverance. Let me call upon Toastmaster George to give us the guidelines of this project.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So the member has chosen the dynamic leadership pathway. In this pathway, the member will be presenting his first icebreaker speech. So the purpose of this project is that member to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of the public speech. So timer, please note that the time of the speech is 4 to 6 minutes. So I wish all the best to the speaker and over to you, Batman. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Our first speaker is a student at Jain University, and he is going to present his autobiography titled Obsessed with Progress. Obsessed with Progress by Toastmaster Aditya. It's over to you.
Am I audible, everyone? Hello?
Aditya, your voice is feeble.
Aditya, remove the headphones and speak. That would probably help you out.
Am I audible?
Now you're audible. Probably you can just raise your voice a little.
Raise your voice, raise your voice.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
You're on mute, Aditya. Please unmute yourself.
Evening.
Yes, yes, now we can hear you.
All right, all right. There's a famous quote: when your mind is telling you that you're done, that you're exhausted, that you cannot possibly go any further, you're only actually 40% done. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, tonight I'm going to introduce myself to you. My name is Aditya M. I was born at St. John's Hospital in Bangalore and I've been raised in the city. I did my schooling in Baldwin Boys High School, and for a brief period of 3 years, I had lived in San Diego, California. Currently, I'm pursuing my engineering degree in computer science at Jain University. I live with my parents and younger sister. As a child, I had tremendous fascination about outer space and zoology. One would describe me as an inquisitive boy who had read up all the encyclopedias in my house by the time I was in third grade. In the fifth grade, I started participating in the Olympiad competitions and had soon made it to the international level. As my interest evolved, I slowly gained an immense aptitude in the English language, transferring to the US. When I was 10 years old, my family and I had to move to the USA as my dad had gotten transferred to Sony North America. We had moved to San Diego, California. This event had a significant change in my life, resulting in a paradigm shift of my current understanding of the world. I was suddenly exposed to the melting pot of the world, mingling with all global cultures and making friends of different nationalities. Instead of being introverted and keeping to myself, I threw myself headfirst, metaphorically of course, into being a polyglot, gaining fluency in both French and Spanish. I took up the art of photography and filmmaking as my hobby. I had developed an almost Renaissance-esque spirit of inquiry and quest for knowledge, as well as people of different cultures helping me attain a greater understanding of humanity. Being an avid traveler, I also visited many places and explored the world. While traveling to the US, UK, UAE, and Thailand, one of my favorite memories would be the bioluminescent beaches of Andaman and Nicobar, which reminded me of the sci-fi movie Avatar. Eventually, all good things must come to an end, and a new chapter of life awaits. In the year 2015, I moved back to Bangalore and rejoined my school. This time, I had upped my game and started participating in debates, quizzes, script spelling bee, and Model United Nations. My athletic career also started off with a bang as I started training in the school gym and became a member of the school's football and hockey team. Fascinated by the armed forces, I had joined the NCC and geared up for the formidable CACTC camp, the NCC camp. When I was in ninth grade, I was sent to the camp. This had a drastic change from a normal teenager waking up at 3 a.m. on and going on ice cold runs, performing grueling exercises and obstacle courses, marching with rifles, and learning to tactically plot cartography and topography. This lasted for 10 days, filled with physical and mental pain, which made almost 50% of the people quit and go home. Here I've seen the other side of the metaphorical coin, which is hardships, discipline, and not being able to communicate with my family. The pursuit of physical perfection. After my experiences from previous ordeals and events, I've known the human spirit, from the spirit of inquiry and curiosity, but I've always wondered what it takes for a person to achieve almost impossible tasks. In a way, I think the mind and body are interconnected, and the simultaneous mastery is required to achieve true excellence. Therefore, I've mastered two distinctly different sports of marathoning and bodybuilding with the same core principles. The first principle is it's only after we lose everything do we truly understand ourselves. And the second one is growth requires failure. Pursuit of intelligence. Now, coming to my education, I deal with a niche specialization in computer science engineering called as Internet of Things. I hope to understand and bridge the gaps between the human genius and the artificial intelligence created. Currently, I'm also engaged in a slightly different endeavor, focusing on financial intelligence. Overall, in conclusion, whatever failure and accomplishments get piled up in the years to come, and I'm pretty sure they will, I know I'm able to continue and give it my all and set goals that seem impossible to most. And with that, I'd like to end my speech by asking you one question. What if you could? Thank you.
Ma'am, you are on mute, ma'am.
I realized it. Okay. Our second speaker is presenting the second project level 1 in presentation mastery. Now his evaluator is definitely the Josh machine of our club. And she's a story of how you can take up tough challenges with enthusiasm. Let me call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Priyanka, to give us the guidelines. Over to Priyanka.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. The purpose of this project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. Timer, please note the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. Our second speaker is a seasoned cross-functional IT leader with great people skills. He is passionate about spiritual yoga and meditation. So let us welcome him to give his story titled, Should the First Impression Be the Last Impression? Should the First Impression Be the Last Impression, by Toastmaster Rajiv Mishra.
I'm audible?
Yes.
Okay. Let me, timer asks me to, I'm not able to see the option to ping you, so I am starting. Okay. I once read a quote, the first impression is the last impression, must be said by someone who was too much in appearance. And I believe so. A very good evening, my fellow Toastmaster and distinguished guests. It was the first day and first class of my college journey. Being a sincere student, I was in front of computer lab at sharp 8:30 a.m. My professor name was Mr. Bhagwan. Soon he has called all of us inside the lab. I was very excited. And do you know why? Because before this instant, I only saw the computer in front of railway reservation counter. So I was very excited. First 10 minutes, professor took time to explain us about the program which we are supposed to type. And he has also given a copy of the program to type it. A struggle started when I started typing. Other than 26 characters of English alphabet and 10 digits, I was not able to use any other key properly. But do you know how much time it just took me to type 10 lines of code? It took 60 minutes. But still, I was very relieved when I completed my assignment. I called Mr. Bhagwan to come and check whether this program is really right or not. He came and magic turns in transit. As soon as he executed the program, computer loaded infinite error. We wait for 2 to 3 minutes and error window was keep displaying the error. Take your notebook and get lost. This is what I heard from my professor. I felt humiliated and depressed. With that feeling, I reached to my hostel and told one of my seniors, "Sir, I don't think I have a capability to become an engineer." Listen whole story, and he took me to another professor who used to take a tuition at his home. I had a 1 week to improve upon my professor impression on me because my next computer class was the next week. For next 1 week, day and night, I was just trying computer programming, trying to learn each and everything about the keyboard, how it's work, how program executed. And you know what happened? In next class, I was able to complete my assignment at time. Soon after a few weeks, I become so skilled. I was able to complete the assignment just in 20 to 30 minutes. My impression on my professor Bhagwan was keep getting built in a right direction. And he start giving some assignment to review the program of other students before they type into the computer. Slowly, one day, one student came and told me, "Rajiv, do you know what happened today in computer lab?" I asked him, "What?" He said, "Rajiv, do you know? Professor Bhagwan told me nothing when I saw him a program which has an error. Because I told him I learned a computer programming from the Rajiv. So though my program has few errors, he allowed me to go and type it." This was again showing that how my skill has create a big picture in a mind of the profession. Soon this news spread in a hostel about my competency about this programming. More and more students start coming and start learning from me. I still remember that year, almost 15 to 20 students clear their final exam in a computer lab, just revealing to the professor that they have learned the computer drawing from me. So there is always a scope of improvement. And this whole story which I have told you, it shows the power of good impression. Even today, when I think about that instant, only things come in my mind. Thanks God, first impression is not always the last impression, but the last impression is for the ever. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Let's thank you, Rajiv, for that great speech. Our third speaker is presenting Project 1, Level 3 in the Dynamic Leadership Path. And let's call his evaluator, who works for Tata Sons, and his story is one of commitment, dedication, and excellence. It's over to Toastmaster Kamlesh Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different types of negotiation and strategies that can be used when negotiating. And also for the member to share some aspects of past or future negotiation in his life. Timer, please note, time duration is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to the speaker. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute.
The story of our third and final speaker is one that will instill you with determination, strong will, and great values. A human library for him enriches one with experience and life learnings of different archetypes. You won't believe it, when it's as early as 9 p.m., he is already into Yog Nidra. That's because he's an early riser to keep up his regime of a strict marathoner. That's how he could complete the full marathon last year. So, and yeah, sorry. Now let's put our hands to welcome our next speaker, Toastmaster Mahesh Shankar.
Let us negotiate not out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate, as said by John F. Kennedy. Negotiation is an art, isn't it? Can you all raise a thumbs up if you believe so? Great, I could see a couple of them. Negotiation is not necessary only when we have any commercial discussion. It's also required even in a relationship, be it your spouse, children, parents, as well as among friends. And why not even in office, at workplace as well. So here, let me demystify 4 types of negotiation skills. It is accommodative. Second one is compromise. Third one, competitive. And the fourth one is collaborative. My eldest son always believes that I am a captious father. The reason being is whatever he would say, he knows I would say no. So this time he came and asked me, Father, I want to download the video game on my mobile. Rather than resisting, I said, listen, there are a lot of ill effects of it. You need to really balance between the play as well as your studies. We can agree provided you challenge yourself on your studies front, and at the same time, you yourself have to take a chance in case if there is any impact on your studies, and you will give it away. In this case, he basically agreed for those challenges, and at the same time, he said, let's go for it. This is basically an accommodative style. What it helps really is to maintain the relationship, and the relationship is on the highest priority. That's why it is always accommodative. Right from the age of 18, I always wanted a bike. As young youth, you need a bike, and I was in the college at that time. I approached my father. He said, son, you can't now. Clear your 12th and then we can discuss. I said, fine. So I cleared 12th. Then I asked him, why not now? He said, let's finish your BCom and then we can talk about it. I said, okay. I finished my BCom. Reached out to him again. He said, you finished, since you started doing CA, why don't you complete CA and then we can definitely buy one. This is basically a compromise style. The reason is relationship has to be maintained. He never said no. At the same time, he always gave me some steps to achieve, which I kept on doing it. Later on, I myself lost interest because I left college. Now, whom I will make them sit behind as well. So in case of compromise, it's all about win-lose situation, which is something which I was not too happy about. Moving to the third one, I, with my family, wanted to go to Uttaranchal. So I reached out to all the agents and asked for the best rate. So they gave me one of the best rate. And they said, this you can't get even from the hotel people. I said, okay, I will take that challenge. I called up the hotel guys and I requested, okay, can you give me a best rate compared to what currently I'm having? They said, no, we can't do that. Then I told them, fine, I'm also pursuing this with another resort and they are ready to give me at this budget. But however, I like your resort so much because it has a very good scenic beauty. And couple of friends who have visited this resort have given a very good review about it. and hence I want to choose this as the best food, as the first choice. He was very reluctant. He said, no, sir, we can't. I said, okay, fine. I'm not asking you to take any decision at this given point in time. You take a day, I will call you tomorrow. Next day, I did not call him. I got a call from him in the evening. He said, sir, I was waiting for your call. You didn't call me. I said, yes, the ball is in your court. You will have to tell me, are you giving me the rate what I'm looking at? Finally, he gave me the rate and it was 15% less than what it would have been earlier. This is basically a competitive style. The reason being is you have to always try to win. So there is a winner and a loser. And at the same time, it is very aggressive. My style always has been more as a compromise, but of late, I have shifted myself to a very natural style that is collaborative. And I will share some incident about it. Just recently, a month back, I got an offer from a new company. And today I would like to thank Toastmasters for this because it allowed me to think on the feet for many impromptu questions. And I will share how it happened. I use the technique which is called as, I basically use a technique which is called as RADPAC, that is RADPAC. R basically means rapport. What I did, I knew who were the panel of interviewers. I went to the LinkedIn profile, saw where they are coming from, which industry. This basically helps to connect with those people much easier, and you can share some insights around those industries as well. And that actually helped me a lot. A is analysis. It's very important what the consultant or let's say the company HR would provide you as a data. You go beyond that. I went to the company's website, applying for a CFO post. I actually went through the financials and other information which was not readily available. And I shared a lot of instances and gave my views and opinion to them. And that actually caught them, saying that I was looking about the company and not only company, even the sector inside out. Next one is D, debate. This is more of a constructive discussion. So here in this given case, I have basically spoke about all the aspects about how I've done the researches and other aspects of it, which they really liked. P is for propose. Finally, I propose one of their mode, which is primarily into ethics and integrity. And I said like how I've worked in a company like G for 11 years and how I can add value out of it. A is for acceptance or appointment. Finally, we agreed on the pay scale, and that's primarily the midpoint, right? So that's something which we readily accepted it, and it was as per my requirement. So there wasn't any kind of compromise for the first time. Last, C is basically a closure. I didn't only stay out over there. I primarily tried to close the event by continuing discussion even in an informal way by connecting through LinkedIn as well as WhatsApp. In a nutshell, RADPAC, that is nothing but rapport, analysis, debate, propose, agreement, and closure. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Mahesh, for that great speech. Now, let's move on to the fun and entertainment section of our meeting. And the that's the table topics. Now, our table topic person has regaled us with her stories that are simple, down to earth, and all about giving back to society. Singing as a hobby had always eluded her. Sorry. Before that, we need to vote for the best speaker. So it's coming on your WhatsApp group. So kindly vote for the speaker, best speaker.
The passcode is 1282.
Should I continue?
Yes, ma'am, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So singing has been a hobby which has been eluding her all these years. So now she is on to that hobby, and maybe her next speech she will sing it to us. So please let us put our hands together to welcome the table topic person, Toastmaster Sujata Sanam. It's over to you, Sujata.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind introduction. Good evening, dear Toastmasters and guests. One rowdy cheater by name Babli, along with his wife and daughter, had come to one of our bank branches, Koramangala, for banking. Around 1:15 p.m., the 8-man gang attacked with swords and matches. The BM was a lady branch manager, and the rowdy cheater, to escape, he rushed into the branch manager cabin. The lady branch manager had no time to think other than rushing out of her cabin. All the staff were inside. They all rushed inside the safe room to rescue their lives. Rowdy locked the BM's cabin, but was no use. All the rowdy cheaters, they broke the cabin and brutally killed him and went. Horrific crime committed in a broad daylight. His wife tried to stop them. Her 2 fingers were also chopped off as the assailants was swinging the swaps weapons wildly. Everything happened within a 3 minutes time. The branch staff had to think on their feet and act in fraction of seconds. Thinking on your feet and speaking is also like that. It's not an easy job. For me, especially, it's more fearful than death. Dear friends, let's start with the table topic session. Hope you all are ready. Let's move on to the table topic session. The first topic, Dr. Robinson, sir, are you there?
Yeah, I am here.
Yeah. For you, the topic is, the timer due to shortage of time. The length of speech time, I'm keeping it as 1 minute, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 minute green card, 1 minute, 15 seconds yellow card, and 1 minute, 30 seconds red card. Timer, please note. Robinson says your topic, good book and an experienced person. Which one you prefer?
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am given a choice, good book or an experience. I prefer the last, the experience. One day, I was sitting in my chamber in Vidhan Sauda. I was additional secretary to the government in the law department. A young girl came into my chambers, just rushed into them crying. She was desperate. I asked her why she was crying, what had happened. Then she narrated a story. She had lost her father. Her mother was bringing her up. She was studying in MES school in Malleshwaram. She had secured very high marks in SLC, and for PUC she had applied to the same college, thinking that she will get an admission. But result came, her name was not there. She then rushed to the residence of MPL Shastri, the founder of MES college, and explained to him the situation. Then he, after checking her marks card, said, "You should have got it. I'll select you. Please come tomorrow." The girl said, "No, sir. You give me a letter to the principal. I'll take it. I have not applied to any other college." On the next day, she went there, and there was fire burning in front of the house of MPL Shastri. He was dead. From there, she came to me for help. There I learned the lesson. If you want to help any person, don't postpone it. On the previous day, a sister of Mount Carmel College had approached me for help, and I had a phone number, and I was able to help her. So rather than a book, the experience. If you want to help anybody, don't postpone it. Over to Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Robinson sir. Very nicely said. Yes, even I do prefer an experienced person when the choice is given. Now, next topic goes to Vaidyanathan. Are you there?
Yes, madam. I'm there.
Yeah. Your topic, your opinion on mental blocks.
My opinion on mental block. Thank you, Table Topic Master. I think this is the stumbling block for anyone who aspires to achieve greatness. It's all in the mind, it's all that's something that we keep hearing very often, but it's quite difficult for someone to really come out of this mental block. Each and every one of us is destined to achieve greatness, but how many of us really achieve greatness? That's a question mark. And the one and only reason why people don't achieve what they aspire for is nothing but the only thing that is between the ears, that is the mental block. We all always wanted to do certain things. We all always wanted to, no person on earth is unambitious. Everyone for that matter is an ambitious personality. But the reason why we don't achieve greater heights is purely because of the mental block. We tend to doubt ourselves. We tend to feel that, this is something that I will not be in a position to do. Same was the case with me as well. When I joined Toastmasters, I was nervous, and then it was purely the support of Madam Toastmaster Sumitra ma'am that I was able to deliver my first icebreaker. It's because of the mental block. It is not that I will not be in a position to speak in front of an audience, but I had fear of failure. Now, on the contrary, the flip side, over a period of time when I started speaking quite freely in front of a larger audience, now I do have a fear of winning. What will happen if I fumble? What will the audience think if I fumble? So from a fear of failure, now it's the fear of winning. So both these are prime examples of mental block. So if you need to aspire greater heights, if you want to achieve greater heights, the one and only thing that you need to do is remove all those obstacles which is stuck between two of your ears. And then sky is the limit. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan. Very nicely said. Yes, we should keep aside the mental blocks and step forward. Then only we'll be able to grow ourselves. The third speaker is Abhay, Toastmaster Abhay. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, your topic is here. Conversation is better than dictation. Conversation is better than dictation.
Madam Topic Master and my dear friends, I certainly believe that conversation is much better than dictation or email or any kind of a communication which is indirect. Direct communication is always best. The reason why I believe in that is because of the organization that I'm in. And we have to really interact with a lot of different teams. So the project that I work in has probably about 300 plus stakeholders. And at times you just don't depend on yourself or your team, but you depend on someone who is outside the box. And you have to really request them at times to look into the problem that you're facing and help you out. And what many people do is that they write emails, lengthy emails, and they try to go in technical explanations and everything else. But what I do many of the times was I send a hello, good morning message. I ask them, how are you doing? And I am from so-and-so team. I want your help regarding this topic. And what I found is that when the conversation is direct, the communication is more open, it's more friendly, and you get help very speedily. So most of the times when we are stuck in a very tight situation, at that point in time, this direct communication, avoiding all email ping pong really, really helps. So conversation, I believe, is the key to getting things done and to, making a good team with people. And dictation or any other form of indirect communication is really not the way to go. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Yes, very rightly said, Mr. Abai. Dictation is always one-sided. We will not be able to listen to other side. Conversation will also always will have I mean, we'll be able to understand the other person in a better way. Thank you so much. The next participant is Toastmaster Manikantan. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yeah, your topic is best things in life are free. Do you agree?
Thank you, table topic master. Best things in life, are free. Absolutely, I agree. In fact, myself is a gift by nature, so I'm the best thing. So which is free. So likewise, whatever you get, we inhale oxygen. It's free. It used to be free, but unfortunately, because of COVID, it became expensive. But otherwise, it's free. And the nature has so much to offer. So I think the relationship, the joy, what we feel because of the fact that we are living in this beautiful earth. So all that comes free. But sometimes, we complicate things and make it expensive or not which is freely available. So a lot of things in life is free. In fact, the experience what we are going through, attending this table topics master, though we pay fees, but it's free. This experience what we are going through is free. And yes, I do agree with you, table topic master, that a lot of things in life is free. I think we should never put a price tag to most of the items. We have to experience it and then learn from those experiences. So thank you so much for this topic. Over to you.
Thank you, Manikantan. As you rightly said, yes, oxygen, though it is available free, now we are struggling to get it during the COVID time. Thank you so much. Next person, Toastmaster Aaron. Are you there? Aaron?
Yes.
Toastmasters, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Your topic. What is social status according to you?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Back in college, the social media bubble, had just begun about 5 to 10 years ago. Most of us got onto Facebook towards the end of the first decade of the century, towards 2007, 8, 9, 10, and Instagram was picking up in the first 5 years of the last decade, 2013, 14, 15, and it was a very big fad. It still is, of course, and today we try to use it for more efficient and for more mature things. But I realized a lot of people back then in college put in a lot of time, effort into their social media profiles, and for them, a social media status is what drove them. It drove them to believing that their personalities were as depicted on social media, rather than perhaps the opposite, just sharing an experience or an outing or a picture with friends. They were so engrossed in their own social media handles, how many likes they got, how many people shared their pictures, and how many friends that they had, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 friends, whereas in reality, hundreds of people may not actually like the way you look. You may not actually have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 friends. But it was sad to see an air about them where they thought that their social media status drove them and it affected their day-to-day activities. And I try to actively keep away, and a few people I knew, we try to keep actively away, because it's not something that should drive us. It's something, of course, to keep in touch with old friends, but it should be used in the right way. Thank you, and back to you, David Dr. Master.
You're on mute.
Ma'am, you are on mute, ma'am.
Hello? Hello? Yeah. I'm sorry. Dr. Mohan is there? Dr. Mohan? Toastmaster Satvik? Toastmaster Satvik? Okay, Toastmaster Alan?
Yes, I'm here.
Alan, your topic is how important Guru in your life. As today is Guru Purnima, I just wanted to give you this topic. How important Guru in your life?
Thank you, Sanam.
as a table topic master for giving me this topic. I think having a guru is an extremely important thing. Why look anywhere but look at Toastmasters itself? I must admit that as a person, when I joined Toastmasters, I really didn't know coming in how it could help me. And when a person joins, they are just witnessing speeches. And when you are looking at it from the outside, you always think that you can do it quite easily. But when I joined Toastmasters, I was assigned a mentor. Aaron Watson was my mentor, and he actually helped me push my boundaries in terms of the way I never thought I could. Um, I think as a mentor, they don't just act as a sounding board, but they are also people to give you a different perspective, to show you what you have not seen. So it really did help me having a mentor and a guru. And even if you look at Ralph C. Smedley, who started this, if he did not start this movement and acted as a guru or mentor to so many people, it's, I don't know where we would be. The reason why Bangalore Toastmasters today is one of the most famous and important clubs is because we have great mentors in our club, right from Robinson D'Souza, Sumitra Manmohan, Rajdeep Manwani, and they play great mentors into how this meeting is conducted, and it has a level of consistency. So I definitely think that it's extremely important to have a guru, and Toastmasters as a movement showcases that to the absolute limit. Thank you so much. Over to the table topic master.
Thank you, Alan. And as today is Gaur Purnima, all the Toastmasters, here all are my gurus only. From each Toastmaster, every day I'm learning one or the other thing. So my best wishes to all the Toastmasters, and I thank the committee for giving me an opportunity. Of course, many other colleagues are also have given their names, but I'm very sorry, I'm unable due to shortage of time. I'm unable to give the slots to them. Once again, thanking with the thanking note. Over to you, Sumitra ma.
Thank you, Sujata, for conducting such a lively table topic session. And members, please vote for the best table topic speaker. The code is 1282. And as you all are voting the best table topic speaker, let's move on to the evaluation session, which is just like the reviews given by critics of the stories and storytellers today. Our general evaluator for today needs no introduction. He's been our president and many other roles on the committee. Last term, he was an area director. Known for pulling legs, he's nowadays busy strumming on a variant of a guitar called ukulele. And he's learning it on YouTube. He's also learning to play the keyboard. And he's also uses his talents to help kids in an orphanage. No Christmas celebration is complete without he playing on the guitar and singing the Christmas carols. So let's invite our fun-loving, jockey, Toastmaster Melvin Smith. It's over to you, Toastmaster Melvin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sumitra, for that lovely introduction. I know what you said about pulling legs and, strumming now. Yeah, I have this over here. This is what I've learned. And this is a message I'm going to sing out to all the members in our club. It goes like this way. Do what you do well, guys. Do what you do well. Give your heart and all of your love and do what you do well. I want you to always give your best when you speak. Today, our meeting started on time. That has been something that Bangalore Toastmasters have always done. And thanks to Kirtana, you're doing a great job and continue to keep doing this great job. I know it's just a few meetings that you've been the Sergeant at Arms, but try and be a little more creative, Kirtana. Why don't you tell people, start with a big welcome, a big smile, look at people and, rather than just saying, don't speak on sensitive topics like politics, sex and religion. Nobody gets a chance even to do that now on the Zoom. So try and be a little more creative and welcome people. People should know who you are because nobody introduces you. You're the Sergeant at Arms. So say, I'm Kirtana. Tell us something about yourself and, connect it to Toastmasters. But you're on the learning stage and you being the youngest member of our club, let's give a big round of applause and encourage her. Yes,
Thank you
virtual
so much.
applause. Then we get to the president. The president, we all look up to him. We are actually really fortunate that we have such a lovely president. He has actually earned that role as president. So, Toastmaster Srijit, great job you're doing. And every time you have to speak, you get a chance to speak. Sometimes you can surprise us. You don't have to always speak on the topic. You know that you're going to have a good TOD today, and she will definitely speak on the topic. So there'll be a lot on that human library. So I, in fact, avoid it because I know Sumitra will do a great job and talk about the human library. What you could do, Srijit, people look up to the president. Tell us where the club is going, what is happening. You have introduced, I like how you give a free hand to your team. They've introduced your subcommittees. Talk something about the club and how our club is going to help you. Talk about the new teams that you started, the TPL, and what's happening. It was like a big surprise. We got to know from the minutes that the scores, people are yet to sink, for that to sink in. So you can talk about the club and how the club is going forward and what vision you have for the club. But come on, this is only because I'm the general evaluator, I'm giving you this information. Great job. Let's give a big round of applause to Srijit. Let's dive into the first speaker's evaluator, George Disa, to give his evaluation on the first speaker, Aditya.
Yeah, thank you, General Evaluator. So good evening, Toastmasters and all my dear guests, and specifically to Toastmaster Aditya. First of all, a very big congratulations to you on your icebreaker speech and specifically for breaking the ice. So first of all, let me talk what went well in your speech. Yeah. So you started with a quote. So it's always good to put the audience with a quote. Very well done. Kudos. You are confident. Good hold on the language. You introduced your childhood right from St. John. Yeah. And also your exposure to the international culture in US, which had a paradigm shift on the way you look the life today. Your current education, your passion towards the learning, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, emotional intelligence, financial intelligence, and a lot more intelligence. Yeah, good. So you introduced your hobbies such as gymnasium, football, hockey, your passion towards foreign language, you learned Spanish, French. Also, you brought on emphasis on the message, key message to the audience that body and mind are interconnected. Both should work together to get a final goal. Yeah. So nicely put across. And finally, you left the audience with a provoking question that what if you could? Yeah. That's really nice. Very well done. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
So let me give a couple of suggestions, if you permit, to take this speech into a next level. I'm not captious here in evaluating this. So first one, I felt the pace of your speech was a bit fast. Yeah, you need to pace down your speed as the audience requires some time to comprehend, digest your message. Yeah, please, this is one of the area which you could emphasize and work on that. Second, I felt your volume pitch was very flat throughout your speech. This is the second area I could see, and gestures were missing. As 55% of the communication will go through body language, I think you did not leverage your complete communication gaze. Yeah, I would request to concentrate on this aspect as well. So, having been said that, it was a wonderful speech. I thoroughly enjoyed. Congratulations and all the best for your next speech. Over to you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Wonderful, George. I think you gave a lot of information for somebody who is speaking for the very first time. I'm sure Aditya will go miles ahead of a lot of us with his lovely speech. George, thank you. And we'll go to our next evaluator of the second speech, Priyanka Ranure, to evaluate Rajiv.
Thank you, Belman. Once again, a very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and Toastmaster Rajiv Mishra in particular. Toastmaster Rajiv, it was a treat listening to you. Being an IT engineer myself, I could completely correlate many of the instances that you brought out. What I liked about your speech is that you brought out an enduring instance of your personal life and with conviction. And in my opinion, because of that, you got the audience hooked up to your speech. Your speech was very well structured, and the transformation of the episodes from the captious moment of coding to be a proficient coder was amazing. You had mentioned in your last in your last speech, you had received a feedback to incorporate story in your speech, and I must say you nailed it. Your entire story was very, very well brought out. Your title was apt. In general, we use this kind of quote to people, but what I liked is you used it on your own episodes of learning. For instance, your impression on coding, where at a point you felt it was not your cup of tea, and later where you mastered on it. I also appreciate the fact that you stood and you gave your speech. You know, it just gave the feeling that probably when we had met in person, how exactly you would have given your speech. It was amazing. And a few suggestions, in my opinion, if I could share, that would help you to go a notch, which will help you probably go a notch higher. First thing is to work on your voice modulation. I do understand it is your first speech, but probably you can work on it, and eventually as in your coming speeches, you can improve, because today your entire speech was in one tone, but your story was so strong that, you know, that got the audience hooked up. But if you could work in your voice, it would help a little more. Second thing would be, you have used a lot of your hand gestures. I completely understand this is, you know, something very normally that we all do when we speak, we use our hands, because even I have the same problem. But something we could probably work in the coming speeches is avoid using our hands as much as possible and only use when it is required. Otherwise, overall, it was a fabulous speech and it was amazing listening to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your feedback.
Lovely, Priyanka. I'm sure if I was the speaker, I would have enjoyed that encouragement you get, and getting those few areas of improvement can really help a person. What I like with both our evaluators, they're both sticking to time. And that's so important, because our new committee has decided to have minus points if you don't even stick to your time. Good job. Let's hear it for both our speaker and evaluator. And then our third speaker, evaluator, for the third speech, Kamlesh Kumar, to evaluate Mahesh.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, everyone, and Mahesh in particular. Negotiation and discussion is something that changes the world by peace and development. And this is said by Nelson Mandela. And today, Mahesh, you have used this weapon to change your perspective. Let's understand that how you have a stand as per the guideline. And it has two parts. One is the purpose and other is the presentation. So if you talk about the purpose, you have made the purpose which talks about the different aspects of life, different style that you have narrated it very well. And when we talk about, personally, I feel that when we talk about negotiation, first thing that comes in my mind is a sales negotiation. And you have really changed my perspective that negotiation can happen in any form of, it could be relation, it could be in the every aspects of life. So that is really good, and really I liked it. Second is a presentation. It was a smooth flow of your presentation. You talked about how your child is demanding for playing games, and you start negotiating the way you are demanding the bike with your father, and when you are asking for base rate from the hotels. And the last that you have talked about when you are changing the job. So all the examples that you have taken are more relatable. Everyone can connect, and I personally connected it very well. So your presentation was very well. If you really want to improve upon the speech that you have given, two observation that I have made while mentioning the rat pack, the acronym that you have mentioned, you are referring, your eyes were moving somewhere. It was giving impression that you are looking at some notes, which is that you need to look into it. And secondly was the timing, because you took overshoot the time. You took 8.5 minutes. So that gives the impression that you are not well practiced. So if you are really go ahead, you have to practice well, and it should have to wrap up your speech within a time. And otherwise, personally, I learned a lot about the negotiation skill, and it could be in a different form, and that really helped me a lot. And it was great speech. Thank you, and over to you, and have a great more speech. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you.
That's really nice, Kamlesh. Giving just 2 points to improve, because person who has prepared a speech has gone through a lot to prepare the speech. You just gave 2 simple areas to improve. Great job. Let's hear it for the speaker and the evaluator. This is a reminder for you to kindly do your voting for the evaluators 1282. Can I get, we'll go to the Tagil team a little later. I want to talk about the table topic master. Sujata, I love the variation of topics you have. First of all, I would have started by, since you had shortage of time, avoid giving a long story. Tell them that you need to be quick on your feet, and that's what the whole purpose of table topics is all about. Though your topics were so varied, I felt that you could have had a variety of speakers. I found the same speakers coming back. They were very good, and they all spoke very well on the topics, but I felt there are so many people who are left out. You could have given them a chance. And when you, first of all, people are nervous. You suddenly change the timing from 1 minute to from 2 minutes to 1.5 minutes. It has to take some time to digest, because I saw a lot of speakers went over the time. Well, that's not your fault. They also should be a little alert about timing. But great job, Sujata. Congratulations to you for doing such a good job. Let's hear one after the other, our Tagil team, the TAG team, giving their reports. Let's start with the timer.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, General Evaluator and all the Toastmasters and guests. Today, I'll just be pointing out who weren't sticking on to the time. So in the table topic session, we had only Toastmaster Manikantan, who was within the time limit. The rest of you all, Toastmaster Robinson, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan, Toastmaster Abhay, Toastmaster Aaron, and Toastmaster Alan were overshot the 1 minute 30-second mark. In the prepared speeches, Toastmaster Aditya and Toastmaster Rajiv were within time, but Toastmaster Mahesh Shankar overshot the time. That's it for my report, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Our counter.
Hello, good evening once again. Very less number of filler words and repetitive words are used by the speakers today. Considering rate of filler words per minute, I think Manikantan has used many filler words and followed by Toastmaster Kamlesh, and Toastmaster George has used repeated word so and yeah. Very less number of words, filler words are used by Toastmaster Aditya and Toastmaster Priyanka. I will provide the detailed report to the team at the end of the meeting. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Yes. Grammarian.
Thank you, Toastmaster Melvin. Captious is not an easy word to use in a sentence. So shout out to all the folks who did. And that's Toastmaster Sumitra, Mahesh, George, Priyanka, and Melvin. Full points for that. There was some wonderful use of language, including terms like keeping listeners spellbound, fired his imagination, ignites creativity, gain a greater understanding of humanity, growth requires failure, the last impression is forever, remove the obstacle between our ears, and one that I don't think we'll forget for a long time. Oxygen used to be free, but because of COVID, it became expensive. The entire report will be available with the minutes of the meeting. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Melvin.
I think our tag team deserve a huge round of applause. I don't know whether it is this competitive spirit that is there or they're just so good. They've upped their game and they've done a fabulous job in giving us great feedback and sticking to time, which I am now becoming so particular about. I was happy that I was going to be saying, I hope somebody says you stuck to your time, because I'm trying very hard to do that. Before I go, I can't forget how well our Toastmaster of the day has prepared. Now we know, Sumitra, that you are going to do a good job. And you didn't, leave any stone unturned. You went and found details and introductions. You did all that. Great job. I have a few suggestions for you, Sumitra. I know you're getting old and you're not very good at this technology, etc. But you got to practice this, because some of the precious moments get lost. Like for instance, when Aditya speaking for the very first time, such a fantastic speak. I know you were saying something to him, but that got cut off. In such an important speech, that guy is going to make waves in our club. And also in between you are getting muted, etc. I think you need to work a little bit on that. So I like how you gave introductions for everyone. You always have that smile in your face when you give that introduction. So people are listening very carefully. I think you did a great job today, Sumitra, and let's give a big round of applause for Sumitra.
Thank you, Melvin. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think this committee is doing a great job, and I really enjoyed being the general evaluator. Though I got this opportunity, quite fast from when I last did the general evaluation. But I think the president has to definitely tell us what is happening in the club, and I hand it back to the MC for today, taking this meeting further. Thank you.
Thank you,
listener.
Sorry. Before the listener, can I ask you? Oh no, we need the Taggle team, right? Listener, can you go ahead?
Thank you, General Evaluator. What was Toastmaster Rajiv's professor's name?
Bhagwan.
Right. Toastmaster Aditya, during his vacations, did visit an island which is known for bioluminescence. Right. Toastmaster Mahesh described 4 key styles for negotiation. Can you name the 4 key styles?
He said red.
Compromise, I think. Yeah.
Accommodative.
First one is collaborative.
No, first one is compromise.
Accommodative, collaborative, competitive, and participative, probably.
Last one was accommodative, compromise, competitive, and collaborative.
Okay.
So we heard a wonderful quote called Toastmaster is a wonderful human library. Who had quoted this?
Sumitra ma'am.
Toastmaster of the day, Madam Sumitra.
Exactly. Toastmaster Aditya did attend a camp where he had to wake up early around 3 a.m. What was a camp?
NCC?
Perfect. Exactly. Back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Wow, I didn't think the listener's role could be that interesting. In fact, I talked to our VPN and said, why not we, for the sake of time, cut off the role of the listener? She said, no, we need that fun element. I take my word back, G education, VP education. Don't forget to please cast your vote 1282 for the Taggle team. It's back to you, Sumitra.
Yeah, thank you, Melvin, for conducting it in such a light-hearted and fun way. And I thank the committee for giving me this opportunity of being the TMOD. And I thank all the role takers who have participated today with their lovely stories. It's back to our president, Toastmasters Srijit.
Thank you. Thank you so much, DTM Sumitra Manmohan, for conducting this meeting, not only very graciously, but we are ending it on time. So thank you so much for all the role takers, all the speakers and evaluators who have helped and made their mark and doing this meeting, again, making this meeting wonderful.